Hey guys, Jim the Stargazer here again. Thought I'd make this video. I'm gonna make a video today talking about the Martin Logan, not just Martin Logan, but the Anthem room correction issues that I'm finding with the bass and the fronts and the subwoofers. So basically, what's happening is I got these new Martin Logan ESL 9. So if you guys been following my series, I got these Martin Logan ESL 9s electrostep speakers, and they have dual 8-inch woofers. Here it is. So it has one in the front. Oh yeah, should dust that. Damn, it's pretty dusty. But yeah, it's got one in the front. It's got one in the back. Let's see, in the back here. So I'm not gonna open it up, but it's got dual opposing 8-inch aluminum drivers for the bass response. And these drivers, these speakers are really good. So the quality of the bass, it's better. It outperforms my Rel 1508s. I have dual Rel 1508s here, and I also have dual Seaton F18s, which are 18-inch subwoofers with the Nomex cone. And the Martin Logan are giving a better sound quality. I'm running an Anthem MRX 1140. Here's my rack. And so I'm running an MRX 1140 with room correction, and that going to the MCA 525 amplifier I got to power these guys, because they take a lot of power. So what I'm doing is I'm running the room correction on the system, and so then what it's doing is it's finding the peaks and the valleys of all the frequencies, not just the bass, but we're talking about the bass today. So if the bass, I'll show you some graphs on REW, but the bass could have a spike at a certain frequency, and the Anthem will try to create a better curve so that spike isn't there. Or if you're missing a bass, it'll increase that frequency dBA, the decibel to that signal to your amplifier, and it will increase that to try to restore the bass it's missing. So what I'm finding, and then a lot of people have been complaining about, is a loss of bass when you run the Anthem. So what I found with my Seatons, here, let me show you on the back of this one. Don't mind my little mess here. Yeah, on the back of my Seatons, I got this LF adjust. So if you bump up the LF adjust, if you boost it, it increases the output of the bass. And you have to decrease this when you run ARC, Anthem. You have to decrease this. I run it at flat, but then you can even reduce it more. So this actually gives you more of a flatter response. This boosts a little bit, and then you can boost it all the way up. So when you are running Anthem, it is sensing the increase in the bass in the room gain, it's called. And it was overcompensating, and it would reduce those frequencies that were boosted in the Seaton. So when I first got it a couple years ago, when I started doing all this, I didn't realize this, and I was just losing bass. So finally I learned, let me lower this boost, and then after ARC loads, then I increase it again, and it works fine for the subs. So the Rel don't have that problem. The Rel are putting out a nice signal, a nice line. So Anthem doesn't give that problem to it doesn't have that problem. And the gain, you keep it pretty low on the gain, so it doesn't get as much room reinforcement. You got to make sure that you just dial down the gain on the subs. So when you dial down the gain on these subs, the room gain is lower, and so it doesn't overcompensate on those. So what's happening with sorry about that, guys. My GoPro for some reason keeps overheating. I ordered a new one, 12, which is supposed to not overheat like this, but this is a 10, and they overheat too fast, which I don't like. But sometimes it doesn't do it. Sometimes it'll go all day long and it won't overheat. But other times, like right now, it overheated. But anyways, so the problem with the Martin Logan is that there's no control over them. They're so efficient that they just put out the bass. The drivers are really efficient drivers, and then it'll get the room gain. It'll you know, depending on how your room is, it'll increase that bass. And what's happening is, when you look at the Anthem in the ARC file, it'll show you a graph. The bass is up. You can see it from the Martin Logan, way above the rest, the remaining frequencies. So what it's doing is now it's compensating. It's seeing that, oh well, these speakers are there's too much bass. Let's lower the bass. It'll lower the gain. Or the output of the bass, the decibel, it's the decibel gain, it's called. It'll lower it on these speakers. And so when you load the ARC file, now what I'm encountering and other people are encountering is that now you lose the bass. There's no bass. So I ran REW. I'll put the pictures. I'll take a picture of the file. REW graph, I'm sorry. I'll post it, and you can see at bass is 0, it's lower 10 decibels below the mid and the highs. So like, for example, 50 hertz to 150 hertz, it's lower than the rest. So that's because it's overcompensating. So when you increase the plus 10 bass, looking for my remote, let me show you. When you increase the plus 10 bass, let me show you on the Anthem. Here. When you do this, when you go to bass, and then so at here, when it's at bass 0 dB, right here, the bass will actually be lower than the highs in the mids. And when you do bass and then you increase it to plus 10, you know, like this, it restores the bass. So what it'll do is now the line will show the bass again. It'll be flat, roughly flat. Well, that's not what we want. We want it to be flat when the bass is at 0 on the Anthem. And then when you do plus 10, now we're gonna get extra bass. Well, that's not happening. It's reducing it so much, overcompensating, that you're losing the bass. So what I did, let me show you. I have thought about it, and I put on, let me move my guy over. I put on a MiniDSP in between the Anthem 1140 and my 525. And I'll throw in I'll edit the video and I'll show you what I did. I boosted it on the parametric EQ. I boosted 10 dB at 50 hertz. So what it does, it creates a line like that. And then it boosts the bass. And that worked. It brought it back. Now you can see on the REW graph, the bass is above, you know, and that's what we want. So I'm going to go ahead. What I think we can do is use the MiniDSP to trick Anthem, because when with the MiniDSP, what it's doing is giving a line, and then at 100 hertz to like a 500 hertz, the line is above. It's above the reference line. So we don't want that. We want that line to be flat all the way, and then I want that little boost for you know, around 80 dB. I mean 80 hertz, 70 hertz, 60 hertz, 50 hertz to be a little boosted. So that's not a good curve, and it sounds good, but I know it could sound better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. I'm going to reduce the MiniDSP by 10 dB below reference, and then rerun ARC. So then my thinking is ARC will see that decrease in bass, and it will try to restore it 10 dB. It'll bring it back up. And then when we take off the MiniDSP afterwards, now when we do bass plus 10, it should be up. We should have that increase. So I'm going to do that. That's what this video is for. I'm going to show you guys and talk to you guys about that. So I'm going to get my computer out. I'm going to reset the MiniDSP to 0. And then I'm going to rerun the fronts. And then see what, you know, run to REW and see what the graph shows. And then we're going to take off MiniDSP, and then I'm going to run the graph again on the REW, and we're going to see where we're at. So I'm just trying to get a nice, somewhere in here, I'm trying to get a nice screen grab so I can get a pick. But yeah, so but that's what I'm doing to you guys. So that's what this video is for. So I'm gonna get it hooked up. I'm gonna show you the computer. I'm gonna show you the MiniDSP setting, and then I'm gonna show you REW graph from what I did previously, and then also what I'm doing now. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so here's my I disconnected. I'm here in the closet. I got my with the Anthem and the MiniDSP. So I got the MiniDSP connected. It's live, so this MiniDSP is live. When you make changes to it, it'll show you, it'll make changes right to it. You don't have to upload anything. So to show you, so I got a Mini 2x4 HD. Oops, I guess there's an update for it. It's programming the device. Let's see how long is it. What is that? 20%. Okay, it's loading really fast. So it looks like there was a firmware update for the MiniDSP, and so yeah, I just downloaded it real quick. There was an update for the software too, so I went ahead and updated it, but I didn't show you that on camera. So so at 80%, so I don't see, we don't need to stop. We can just keep waiting for it. It's almost done. All right, so let's kill it. Yeah, it looks like I have to restart the device. So hang on one second. Let me restart the software. All right, guys. So it took 2 firmware updates instead of 1. I don't know why I had 2, but it could have just did it in 1. So now it should be working. There we go. Parametric EQ and everything. So I have it on output 1, output 4, and so I am using input 1, input 2. Since they're stereo speakers, and I got input 1 on output 1, and I got input 2 on output 4. I just did it that way. But anyways, so this is what I was saying. You got your PEQ for each, and so I'll show you what I did. I'll open up the PEQ. So for the Martin Logans, as you can see, we're here at the 50 hertz. So I did it just before, like a 49, 48, whatever it is. I boosted by 10 dB output level, 10 dB. I went ahead and I just boosted that by 10 hertz. I'm sorry, 10 dB. I boosted it so that way it would give 10 dB of gain to those frequencies. Okay, so as you can see from all the lows, from 100 hertz, they're all boosted. I don't care about the 100 hertz so much. I'm more interested in that 80 hertz, 70 hertz, 60 hertz, and 50 hertz. But the problem is, as you can see, it is boosting, the line is boosting above 100, and we don't want that. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and reset the default here. I'm going to reset to default. Says, oh, I gotta unlink the channel. So what I did is I went ahead and I linked output 1 and output 4, so they would be identical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlink them now. Please confirm breaking the link. Now I'm going to reset the default, and see, as you can see, it put the EQ at 0. See, it's all at 0 again. But now I have to do the same thing for output 4. Output 4 and output 1 were linked. Now I unlinked them and I reset to default, and as you can see, it resets them to default. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to link them again. I'm going to go to output 1 and I'm going to link it to output 4. So whatever changes I make to output 1 automatically will be sent there. So I want to link them, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do at the 50 hertz mark. Sorry guys, I'm trying to show you this with one hand. I'm going to go ahead and set that 50 hertz mark down 10 dB. So hang on one second. I don't have a little stand with me for my camera, so I'm going to try to do this with the mouse. So that's 80. So that's all like 80 hertz. and I don't want to do that 80 hertz. I want to do it over here, and I want to do it at, that's 44 hertz. So I'm going to bump 44 hertz over. Oops. Yeah, so it's a little hard trying to do this with the camera guide, just so you know. I'm going to get a reset the default. So hang on one second. Alright guys, so I had to play with it without the camera. I wanted to show you guys me doing it with the camera, but it's kind of hard to hold the camera and fine tune this. It is very hard because you got to move these things. So as you can see now, I got the 100 to 200 hertz fairly level now, back to the reference. You know, I call it reference, or just 0. But as you can see, I got it bumped down at the 50 hertz. I got it bumped down like, what does that say? About 6 to 7 hertz. I keep getting it wrong. 6 to 7 dB, guys, at around 50 hertz. So I'm going to try this first. Let's run Anthem. I'm going to go ahead and rerun ARC on the fronts alone, because you can do that. I'll show you guys when I run it. I'm going to disconnect it here and go in the front so I can hook up the mic and everything. Then let's see what we get, you know. Hopefully it gives me the gain, because I got that line fairly flat now, 100 to 200, which is what I wanted. I didn't want any gain 100 to 200. I only wanted the gain in the lower frequencies. So let's try this out. Camera is getting hot, overheating, so I'm gonna have to turn it off anyways. I'm gonna get this out, put another battery in, and we're gonna run it, and I'll run it live with you guys, and then we'll check REW after that. All right, so stay tuned. Alright guys, let's try that again. For some reason the fronts weren't working, and so I just went to check to make sure everything was connected. It was connected. I don't know why Anthem wasn't working, but let's try it again. Choose the device, connection complete. Let's try it now. Let me bend my screen. Alright guys, let's try this again. Was having trouble for some reason. Wasn't running both speakers, even though it should. This is Anthem doing it. I don't know why it's giving issues. Like it wasn't running the right speaker, and then at first it wasn't running none. So let's. All right, guys. So I just got. So yeah. So sorry about the. What do you call it? Confusion there. There were some settings that weren't jiving right. I had to update and everything, so that's why it looked a little off. So I reran it. As you can see here, the fronts is getting right here. Hold on one second. Yeah, so the fronts here, I have dipped down the bass. So on the previous measurement, this bass all here, this bass was up above 85. So if you see my cursor, it was up here. So it was like a curve going down. So it was so much room gain that it was just spiked so high that ARC would automatically reduce it. So I just went ahead, like I said, I reduced it by 10 in the MiniDSP. So you now see it looks fairly even on the measurement. So when I take off the MiniDSP, it should automatically put the bass there. So I'm going to, hold on one second. I had a second profile off. Yeah, here it is. So I'm doing this on profile 2. So profile 2 is this one here. So the fronts, now I'm going to run flat. So I'm running flat. So it peaks, the bass comes up here, starts out here. So since I don't have any protection on it, I shouldn't run it flat. I should run it about a second like this. So it doesn't put out as much bass until it gets up to here about 50. Because the speakers are only capable to 37, I believe. I don't want to put too much lows to it. And then the subwoofer crossover frequency, I want to put that as low as I can. Well, no, I don't want to put it as low as I can. I want to put it here, like I said, it's at 37. And then the second here. Actually, let's send bass to the sub. Let's put it at 40 hertz. And let's see how it sounds now. So what I was doing before, I was setting this to flat because I was trying to get as much bass to the fronts as I could. Well, now that we know that we should be getting it, then let's do it the correct way. Let's do 40 hertz crossover, and then send bass to the sub. And then we will see how REW sounds. So I have sub 1 at 70 hertz, and I got sub 2 at 130. Okay, so let's try this. Continue. I'm going to upload this. Hey guys, just want to give you an update real quick. So after running the MiniDSP before the ARC, it's not working. So just want to provide that update. It's dropping that frequency right at that range still. ARC isn't putting it back like I thought it would. Like you could do with the MiniDSP, you could bump it up. It's not doing it. So it's not going to work like that. So for this, you have to run ARC, let ARC load, and then after ARC, put it on the MiniDSP, and then increase that gain. So here's one downfall with ARC. So yeah, just provide you that update. So all right, thanks. I mean, it sounds better than it was actually. Now after ARC ran and it smoothed it out the curve, it actually sounds better than what I had it just with the MiniDSP with no correction. So I am getting at the end of the month, a couple more weeks, a pair of hard bottles, carbon 18s, to replace the drivers in my Cetans, these Daytons. So once I do that, I will configure this again. I think it sounds good enough for now. I'm not going to mess with it, but I'm going to make that video of swapping out those hard bottles then, putting those in and doing the graphs for you. But yeah, but just for have to do this, I don't like the fact that the Anthem is just telling me, oh, it's working as expected. Just because my room is giving overly, room gain, then I mean, I shouldn't have to just live with it. So basically, this is a big complaint I've been seeing on the forums for Anthem, is that it sucks the bass out. And this is why it's sucking the bass out, because Anthem overcompensates. And it overcompensates, and then it sucks your bass out, and then people end up going to